Welcome to another edition of the CDG BizCast. I'm your host, Christian Gonzalez, co-owner of Creativity Design Group, a digital marketing firm in Houston, Texas. Joining me today are my guests, Chef Jay, Lauren Hicks, and Anthony Lindsay, owner of Astor Business Centers in Houston, Texas. Today we will be talking about the importance of content marketing and certain content marketing trends that business owners need to look out for in 2022. Now, as we progress into this year, you're going to see certain trends that aren't going to be going anywhere anytime soon. You're going to want to make sure that you're taking note of what's going on in the content marketing landscape and revise your digital marketing strategy accordingly. Google looks for regularly published content. They want to see how often you're putting out blog posts, how often you're posting podcasts, or putting out new infographics, white papers, content that can be regularly updated. They want to know how often you're doing that, and that's going to be a ranking factor that you'll want to seriously take into consideration if you want to be found easy. The most popular types of content that people seek out are educational content. People want to look up blog posts or look up podcasts. They want to learn more about the industry or how you can help them out. If you sell a certain product, you can write a blog post talking about how they can use it to the best of their benefit, or even a how-to post over how they can utilize it. Many people want to know how they can get the absolute best out of their products and services that you offer. They want to know how they can take your products, get the absolute best benefit from it, and most importantly, how it can change their lives and make their overall daily lives better. And that's especially true if they're buying services and products from you that are supposed to be beneficial to their overall business. And the most important thing to know about publishing this type of content is that you're establishing authority online. You're not just talking about why they should buy from you. You're actually showing you know about the industry. You know about industry trends. You know exactly what you're trying to talk about in terms of staying on top of the game. You're establishing authority. And if you can talk about topics that your competitors have not talked about, then you're getting ahead of them, and you're also showing your audience that you're willing to make sure that you're always ahead of the game, on top of everybody else. You want to make sure that all the content that you're putting out there is able to address their pain points, and that they can come to you, and that you can solve all their problems. Just like we talked about in the previous shows about the importance of having a customer-centric website, you want to make sure that they know they can trust you, that you're not just trying to land a sale, that you care about making sure that your products and service that you offer can change their lives and make their lives better.
Yeah, those are really good points because, we all know that Google is king. So everyone's going to search on Google, and just a human behavior is to move. Two things are going to motivate people. They're going to be moving away from pain or moving towards pleasure. So when you can combine those two things, so when you can address someone's pain point and people are looking for a solution to their pain point, and you can have a blog or you can have content around those pain points with a straightforward solution that is going to establish you as an authority in your industry. The other thing that that's going to do is it's not going to come across as salesy. And if you can just get right to the point, you identify the point clearly, you articulate how to resolve that point, it will automatically position you as a person or a company that people will go to get their to get the solutions to the problems that they have.
That's correct. That's how you establish trust. When you establish yourself as authority and you show that you are ready to tackle every single one of those pain points, that's when the customers know you're the guy to go to. You're the company to go to. It should never be all about just promoting yourself and showing how big and flashy you are. It should be showing that you care about your customers' concerns. That's what real customer service is. When you're just trying to land a sale, like most typical salespeople do, they don't really care about your pain points. They're just trying to land a sale so they can get a commission. They talk fast. They don't listen to you. That's not customer service. That's not showing that you care. That shows that you care about trying to make your wallet fatter and you're trying to get that commission. That doesn't show that you genuinely care about your customers' wants and needs.
Which that ties into the saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Exactly. And so by positioning yourself in that way, and it's not hard because we all have something that we're really good at. And hopefully we built our business around those areas of expertise and skill. And sometimes it's sharing something that you've learned in your journey to the point where you are, just sharing those things that seem like second nature to you, but to someone just starting in that field or starting in that industry, it might be something that could allow them to pivot and go through the learning curve a lot quicker.
Right. That's right. It's always important to make sure that when you're educating your customer base, you can get them straight through that learning curve. You want to make sure that they're learning and that they're understanding exactly what they need to know. You don't want to rush them through it, but you still want to get them through at a quick pace where they're able to absorb the information, the knowledge, and take it with them when they need to use it and apply it. We're going to start talking about these trends that we can expect to see within 2022. Now, these are all trends that small business owners need to take note of. These are things that they need to tweak into their overall marketing strategy in order to see more leads convert to sales. I want to first talk about increasing the use of interactive content. So before I talk about my key points within this topic, I want to ask all of you, what do you think interactive content means to you when you pull up a website?
Well, I think I would say something that is not just one size fits all, something that's going to give me the opportunity to input some information and then segment the response to what my specific needs are, as opposed to it's just static information being given to me as just a visitor.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be something that's tailored to me as an individual based on the input that I put in to the website.
Right.
Yeah, I would think like a chat box or something to interact would be a good way to have interactive content.
Yeah, I kind of think the same thing, really.
Anthony, you hit the nail on the head perfectly. That's exactly what interactive content is. Interactive content is basically content that requires user interaction and it keeps visitors interested. But you want to make sure that you're keeping your visitors interested by showing them that you understand what their needs are, just as you said. And that's perfect. It helps the business owner, understand who your audience really is. You get to learn more about who they really are. And there are different methods that you can capture information. You can do polls and surveys. You can ask them questions. Questionnaires are a great way to capture information about your audience. And we discussed this in the previous episode, that websites should have some type of questionnaire where you can collect data from so you can understand what your customers are looking for, what are their needs, what are they really trying out of your company. You want to make sure that you know how to address their pain points, but how can you know how to address them if you can't first know what they are? And before you even contact your customers, before you even call them up or email them, the best way to do it is to know beforehand by setting up something in your website where you can collect data. And questionnaires, polls, and surveys, those are great ways of trying to get more information. You'll also want to make sure that this type of interactive content is incorporated into your landing pages. So if you have product landing pages, that means having a page for each product talking about the product benefits and showing how they can meet your customers' needs, all right there in one page with a nice picture, maybe an infographic or a video explainer. That's another great way of taking it a step further.
Yeah, those are really good points. Because what we need to do as business owners, being on the internet, we need to cut through all the noise.
Right.
There's millions and there's hundreds of millions of websites. What will make somebody come to your website in the first place? And more importantly, what will make someone stay on your website? And then what will make that person convert into someone that goes from a visitor to a paying customer or a paying client?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And my answer to that question would be to make the content that you're providing to your audience more empathetic. That means really tugging at their heartstrings. You really want to show that you understand exactly what their pain is. They just want to overcome all their problems.
Oh, yeah, you need to care more about your customers than money. Obviously, money helps because that's why you've got a business or a job or whatever.
Right.
But caring more about your customers than money really helps.
That's right. There's a difference between being a salesperson who's just trying to hard sell you on something, trying to make a commission, and then your own website, which serves as your digital salesperson and is supposed to show that you really care about making sure that your customers' pain points are addressed. And that's what landing pages should do. When you make landing pages, all the content with them need to show how the product's benefits answer your customers' questions and solve all their problems. Think of it this way. If you're putting out blog posts, podcasts, or any other type of content that they can read or listen to or watch, all the content you put out there that's like that, it needs to be able to answer 3 key questions. Who is your customer base? What are their pain points? And I keep saying that over and over again because I need to stress the importance of that. And what motivates your customers to take action?
And I think in saying this is one of the biggest mistakes that most business owners make. It's usually a sign of immaturity in business, which isn't based on the age of the business. It's just based on the phase that business is in. You could be, 6 months into a business and be a somewhat mature business. You could be 6 years in and be immature. The key is understanding that you have a ideal customer. And when you understand who that ideal customer is, you can speak to them. So you'll understand your customer base. And because you understand them, you'll be able to understand what their pain points are. So one of the things that I always advise any person starting a business to do is to create what we call an avatar, which is just a fancy way of saying a synopsis of who your customer is. And you have to be very specific. You have to be very granular in that by saying, well, is it a male or is it a female? Your ideal customer, not anyone that spends money with you, but is it a male or is it female? What stage of life are they in?
Mm-hmm.
I've worked in banks most of my life before setting out to on this business endeavor. And one of the things that we would do in the bank is we understand that you're not going to sell life insurance to a 22-year-old.
Right.
Because they're not in that stage of mind. So it's silly to put a lot of resource into that. Whereas, when we do a mortgage for somebody, they're going to be thinking about life insurance. They're going to be thinking about those things. When someone has a baby, that's when they start looking at those things. So what you don't want to do is try to be all things to all people. It's better to just find a specific demographic, a female between the age of 18 and 24 who is single, who works full time, as opposed to, well, yeah, I'm just trying to sell this to females. Because that 24-year-old single female is going to have a different set of needs, a different set of pain points than a 24-year-old married woman with 1 child.
That's right. That's exactly right. And we call those avatars buyer personas as well. And on the CDG website, we do have a blog post talking about how you can start an avatar or a buyer persona. That's actually the first step in answering the question of who is your customer base. And you hit the nail on the head perfectly, Anthony. That's exactly how all business owners should decide or determine who their customer base is. The biggest mistake that many business owners make when they start, like you said, is the maturity. Too many of them say that everyone is their target market. That's not true. That's not true at all. And then you also need to be able to understand, once you know who your target audience is, you need to understand what are their pain points or the problems they're trying to solve, and then what motivates them to take action to get rid of those pain points so they can start living a happier life.
And that feeds into that whole point around the human 2 things that are going to motivate us as human beings: moving away from pain,
right,
and moving towards pleasure. And if you can stack the 2, so you create a situation where they can see that by not taking action now, it's going to be more painful in the long run than if they take action now. And you also want to create some level of pleasure in them taking action by giving them some type of trigger to say, well, by taking this action, it's going to satisfy one of the human needs. Is it going to make them as a company look more prestigious? Is it going to make them as a company break through the noise with other people? Is it going to make them as a company make more money? So they're moving away from the pain, not doing anything, and they're also moving towards the pleasure of knowing that there's some type of social credibility or some type of social prestige that they're going to get from doing business with you right now, as opposed to putting it off.
Exactly.
One thing that I think is good as well is offering customers rewards for their time, and how long they've been with you, etc., just in general.
Yeah.
Loyalty programs.
Yeah, that's it.
One of the industry mechanisms or tools that is used is something called NPS, which is Net Promoter Score. And over the past decade, the NPS, which is a way of measuring customer satisfaction, has also become a key lead indicator of a company's profits. So people are looking at companies and saying, well, because this company is understanding who their customers are, because they're solving problems for them, the customers tend to be happier. And because the customers are happier, you get a longer customer lifetime value, you get more customer satisfaction. And by, as you said, giving those customers rewards, those customers are going to introduce other customers, because a big part of every company's expenses is marketing. And it costs less to keep an existing customer than to attract a new customer.
That is the sad truth that many business owners fail to see. Many business owners fail to see that it does cost more to get a new customer versus keeping an existing one. So when you lose a key customer, it can take quite a dent in your profits. That's why it's important to ensure that you're always staying on top of your game when serving them. You want to make sure that you're always ready to take action whenever they need something. And then not only do you need to take action, but you need to showcase that you're ready. Social proof is one of the best ways of validating how customer-centric your company is. If you can ask your happy customers to write you a review, and that review shows that you've always been on top of your game, ready to solve all their problems, maybe they can talk about a specific problem they had where you helped them out. That's only going to help you later. Social proof is one of the best ways of validating how well your company took care of your customers' pain points. If you can think of a certain customer where you stepped in and solved all their problems when they were in some hectic situation, those will be the customers you want to ask for reviews from. And if they can get specific when they write about it in their review, that's only going to help you, especially when people are trying to find a business like yours and they're going through reading each review. Most likely your company is going to be the one they're going to be calling.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because that ties into the NPS. And it's also, if you can get them to do some type of video testimonial, because video is quite strong. And again, if you understand human nature, you understand that facts will never trump feelings. People make a decision first based on feelings, and then they justify it in their heads using facts, which is why when you see car commercials, if people were moved by facts in a car commercial, they would give you all the facts about the car, the gas mileage, they would give you, all of the safety stuff. They do that, but most car commercials is selling a feeling. You see the Land Cruiser in the mountains and all of these aspirational things, because they understand that feeling is going to drive you. And then the few facts that they put in there, you'll justify that within yourself. So when you can get a customer to do a written testimonial first, and then hopefully a video testimonial that will draw other people in, it's going to be way more compelling, and it's going to help you get those customers to move from visiting your site to actually becoming customers.
Right.
That's think YouTube pages might be in handy as well. Say like you've got this company, it's worth setting up a YouTube page where you can explain things on videos as well. Because like I like to look up YouTube stuff to know how to fix a problem or solve a problem or get reviews on a product before I buy it, etc.
So that's an excellent point, because YouTube is actually the second most used search engine on the internet. So what you've just said ties in specifically and very well with the fact that that video side of things is vital.
Yeah.
Video is considered to be one of the most popular and the most effective types of content. And HubSpot conducted a survey, and based on the survey results, it said that 59% of its participants use video in their marketing strategy, and 76% of marketers consider it to be their most effective content format. Video is very powerful, and I agree with all the points that you've been telling me. Yes, video testimonials can be very powerful, and in fact, that's why You see people do video testimonials and they put them on TV. They put them on the commercials that you see during certain time slots. Especially on local channels, you'll see commercials for local businesses such as car dealerships, dentists, and even restaurants too. Restaurants sometimes use video reviews too to show happy customers enjoying the food. It can be very powerful because when they see somebody else happy with the service, then anybody watching can easily relate to it. It's as if they know exactly how that person feels. Some of the best types of video formats that you can use within your website would be short form explainer videos. And the best way to make these videos is to make sure that they're straight to the point and they're not too long, but they still cover key topics that you want your audience to understand. You want to make sure that whoever's watching those videos can get as much as they possibly can in a short amount of time. Short videos do respect your visitors' time, and it also helps them understand the topic at hand better. It allows them to commit the information to memory better, versus if you're giving them a really long video, they're most likely not going to watch the whole thing. And when they're done watching it, they're not going to remember everything that they heard. So a short video, preferably about maybe 5 minutes or less, the shorter the better. I would say the best way to do a video would be 5 minutes or less. If shorter, that'll work better too. But you want to make sure that within those 3 to 5 minutes, that they can learn a lot and understand the topic at hand right away.
Precisely, and one of the things that you want to do within that is front load the information.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure that they know at the beginning, at the onset, what they're going to get from watching that video. Have a solid script, have a solid flow to the video,
Mm-hmm.
and add your personality as well. You know, there might be thousands of videos on a specific topic, but what you want to do is make sure that people aren't just tied into that topic, but they're tied in to the way that you do it, that they'll come back. So once they know that, as you said earlier, Christian, that you've established yourself as an expert in that area, anytime they need something within that area, they're going to come to you, because not only do they like the fact that you provide the information, but they like you. And people buy people. People
Right.
don't just buy stuff. People
Mhm.
buy people.
Exactly. That's why it's important to make sure, like you said, that your personality is somewhere within the content you're displaying. If it's in the video, if it's in the website, the customer should get an idea of who the person that they're going to be dealing with is going to be like within said mediums.
And also, you want to make sure that once you've provided them with that information, you move them to a point that they know what to do next.
Right.
So that's around the whole call to action. So what do you want them to do next? Do you want them to subscribe to a newsletter? Do you want them to actually call you? Do you want them to like, share, comment? Make it very clear, make it very simple,
Mm-hmm.
and don't be afraid to ask for whatever it is, the next step it is that you want them to do, which can be accomplished by having, you know, a link in your video or a
Right.
button or just something that's clear, that they don't have to guess what they need to do next.
Right. Interactive videos that have said call to actions are useful in helping you increase possible leads. It's similar to if you ask somebody to subscribe to your newsletter in exchange for another piece of content. You want to have a clear call to action, because call to actions in the end are what's going to eventually drive more sales, especially if the leads are hot and they're relevant.
Yep.
Before we move to our next topic, I want to ask you guys a question about video in general. What types of videos do y'all like to watch when you're trying to learn something new? What do you expect to get out of a video in general? What do you expect to benefit from it? What do you want to learn? Do you like seeing explainer videos or company intro videos? What do you guys personally like?
I like explainer videos where it explains everything and shows like how to use something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree too. Same with like how to do something, how to fix something, how to stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, I would echo that. I like explainer videos, and I also like unboxing videos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like
So
that
someone's
too.
experience, where
Yeah, like
they-
review videos as well.
yeah, when they
Yes.
receive the product. And I like it from real people. You know, I don't
Yeah.
necessarily want the super polished, perfect lighting and, everything perfect. I'd probably rather see it from someone like me than some big, internet influencer who, is essentially being paid to promote that product.
Yeah, or the company itself.
Help, it helps when people describe in the video how to do things. Well, some people are just silent in these videos, and that does my head in.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't like when it's just like a soundtrack, some music, and the person's just doing it. I like for them, as you said, to just be talking through it,
Mm-hmm.
and also pointing out some challenges that you might face. So quite often I use various platforms, and there just seems like there's some glitches in the platform. I'd rather tell someone, when you click this button, you might find that, you get kicked out the site. Don't worry about that. It's a glitch in the system. Because again, that establishes you as an expert. Because if that thing does happen to the person, they don't get put off because they think they've done something wrong. And they'd also be like, oh, Christian knew that. That means he's an expert on this platform or with this particular software.
It's best to embed videos like those into your website or on your landing pages from YouTube or an external source to avoid bogging down server resources. But also, more importantly, you don't want the video to be an autoplay video because that does tend to startle and scare people away sometimes.
You're on a bus or something, and you pull up something, and this bloody loud noise blurts out. It can be annoying.
It's very annoying. To me, that's only the second worst thing you could do. The other worst thing you could do is implement some sort of background music that you weren't expecting. We discussed that in a previous episode, how these can be little quirks that could scare away possible visitors. That's what you don't want to do. You want your videos to be useful. You want them to be educational, engaging, but you don't want them to scare away or bore your audience. That's the most important thing to know.
Yeah.
And while we're on the topic of video, I also want to talk about how video has played a key role in encouraging companies to host a lot of virtual events. What you can expect moving forward into 2022 is to see more hybrid events, some that are virtual and some that are live in person. Because of the pandemic of 2020, we saw nearly every company in the world go virtual. People were working from home. They were having meetings over Zoom and Amazon Chime and all these other platforms. And we're in 2022 now. As the world starts going back to normal again, we're seeing a mix of hybrid, live, and virtual events because people feel more comfortable going to live events without the fear of getting sick now. However, the fear of that has not gone away 100%. So that's why companies are still opting to keep virtual events in mind. One thing we've learned from 2020 is that people are tired of being stuck at home. They want to go out there and start enjoying life again. That's why companies are also considering doing live events for people who do feel comfortable going out, but also offering virtual alternatives for people who still want to play it safe and stay at home. And there's nothing wrong with playing it safe.
One thing as well, some people like myself have chronic illnesses and sometimes find it hard to go out and about, and we rely on live streams or video chats, etc.
Yep. And it goes back to what you were saying, understanding your customers, understanding their pain points. It's also about being where your customers need you. So if you are in a industry, like some industries, as a plumber, you have to go to the person's house,
Right.
But there's nothing wrong with having some, quick tips to explain to people how to fix things. Now, some people might say, well, I don't want them to fix it. It's not just about the sale. It's about having those customers, because if you can put one really good tip up there as a plumber, you never know. That might make your site go viral, which you'll still make that money. It will help you with your social proof because people will be putting these comments there for you. And if someone is going to watch your video and like your stuff, then if they do need something that they have to call you and you're local, they're more likely to call you.
Right, that's right. The more unique you are and the more customer-centric you are, the better chances you have of landing the business over your competitors. Well, when it comes to hosting events in general, it's important to remember that virtual events aren't going away anytime soon. You need to understand that it doesn't make sense to go 100% virtual or 100% live. Keeping your customers in mind who are looking for a 50-50 balance between live and virtual events, how should business owners handle that? They should try to host 50-50 of each per year. So the entire year, just have a nice mix between the two. By doing that, you're also showing that you're ready to start serving the public again.
Yeah.
And another way of keeping things customer-centric, make sure that your website and its content offer some sort of hyper-personalization. So before I go over that, let me ask you guys this. What, in your own words, what do you think hyper-personalization means?
I would think it'd be some way that you would maybe personalize their interests or what they needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, needs. That's what I was thinking. Needs and interests.
I would agree with that.
Building up a profile, I guess.
Hyper-personalization basically means you and your content and your website is getting personal with the individual user. It's important to understand, can your content spot your customers' wants and needs and interests just automatically like that? Now, this is important, especially if you're involved in email marketing, and e-commerce retailers use this method quite a bit too. We see it all the time. Have you ever went to an online store, added something to your shopping cart, but didn't complete the checkout? What happened next? How were you reminded later that you had something in your cart that you didn't check out?
Yeah, I get some emails saying, "Oh, you've left something behind in your cart" from some places.
Mm-hmm.
I usually get those beepy things when you try to walk out of the store. It goes beep, 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 beep. That's when I forget things I have to pay for.
Sometimes, though, when they send me those emails saying you've left something in your basket, I think maybe they're judging me on what's in my basket. They say I don't know, you're buying something that you think is embarrassing, like a pizza, for example, and the company email you to say you still got it in your basket. They might secretly be judging you.
It's hard to say what goes on behind the scenes, but yes, an abandoned cart email is a perfect example of hyper-personalization. That's when they get personal. They hone in specifically on you, and their system flags that and sends an email back to you if you're registered and you're signed in on their website, reminding you that you need to go back in and check out. That's how they recover lost revenue. They don't want to lose out on sales simply because you didn't finish checking out. Aside from checkout, another way that e-commerce retailers implement this method of hyper-personalization is that they'll even echo back, either in a sidebar or in the footer of the website, the products that you recently viewed. If you clicked on a product but didn't do anything else with it, like check it out, there's usually a section at the bottom showing which products you viewed. It shows a picture, sometimes a name. Sometimes it shows all the information when you hover over the picture. But that's how they keep you interested. That's how they make sure that you don't forget about what you were looking at. Sometimes they'll even send out an email reminding you that you looked at this product, asking you, are you still interested in this product? Click here to buy it now. It's the same method as they do with the abandoned cart emails. They're just trying to get your interest. They're trying to pique your interest back into that product so you can go back in and buy it. And they'll even give you a special discount code. And this could be either with an abandoned cart email or with a simple reminder of a product you viewed earlier. They want to encourage you to buy that product, and they want to give you a discount. So if you can offer a discount code to your customers who are browsing, that's a great way to increase those sales.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, definitely.
So yes, those are some examples of hyper-personalization. If you can get downright personal with each individual customer that you have, that's also a big win too, because it shows that you're really paying attention, that you really care about making sure that they get their problems taken care of. And that's especially important when you're trying to sell them a product that they're interested in. They wouldn't be looking at that product on your website if they weren't interested in it. They had some reason for pulling up that page on your site. That's how you hone in on customers. And if your website can automate that, great. Based on the ways that I mentioned, if you have an e-commerce website, that's the best thing to do, is make sure that you have some tools in there that'll hone in on customers who have abandoned their carts or had some interest in a product that you were viewing. Have you had any personal experiences with hyper-personalization in the past with any website that you've been on, whether it be an online store or any type of website in general?
Yeah, I like it when they remember who you are and they personalize from your past shopping experiences with them. They personalize what you like and what you don't like. Like, for example, with eBay, with some sellers that you constantly buy with, they send you emails saying this seller is selling new stuff, etc., which helps, I said.
That's an example of eBay taking the legwork out of hyper-personalization. They're doing it for you so the seller doesn't have to.
Yeah, but I like it with any, when companies do that, it helps.
I want to say that I keep getting run over by those abandoned carts, man. They get you all the time. That's the recent thing that's been getting me is just, man, you don't know when they're going to come. It's just like, oh, you forgot this in your cart, you forgot that. And then you go there and you take it out of your cart and you end up buying something else from their site.
Yeah.
Yeah, because don't those abandoned cart emails that you've received personally, not only do they have the product that you didn't check out, but did they also throw in some recommendations underneath?
Yep. Another form of advertisement.
Right? That's the whole point. It's called remarketing. They don't want to lose you as a customer. They want to make sure that you buy from them. And that's the overall goal. They want to see sales go up. They want to see higher revenues.
Oh, yeah. The AI is taking over.
AI is a big part of digital marketing now. Earlier, you mentioned chatbots. Chatbots are on many different websites now. We use chatbots at CDG. They're tied in with Facebook Messenger. And you can also set up a chatbot based on WhatsApp, too.
That's cool.
Well, I'd like to thank all you guys once again for giving me your input and sharing your feedback. I'd like to thank you guys for joining me on the show, giving me your feedback. In part 2, we are going to talk about certain types of educational content marketing that small businesses should be using, such as infographics, white papers, podcasting, blog posts. We're going to talk about those types and how small business owners can benefit from them. So thank you once again. Thank you for checking out the CDG BizCast. Please stay tuned for part 2. You won't want to miss it.